Everyone knows that Apple products are the highest quality and most reliable products available. However, no company gets successful overnight, and Apple is no exception. They made some very weird stuff that you didn't even know existed. Here are some of them. Did you hear about Dalmatian MX? Me neither, but apparently Apple was really into colors. Blue Dalmatian and Flower Power were the multicolor designs that Apple introduced and was molded into the casing plastic. It was produced in a huge range of colors. Apple even did scanners. They were called the Apple One scanner and first appeared in the early 1990s. The very following year, Apple upgraded its scanner to support 8-bit, 256 shades, grayscale scanning. The On Scanner series utilized then advanced third product element can be scanned automatically or manually with this flatbed scanner. However, Apple stopped selling the item in 1997. This was mainly Philips's idea, but Apple wanted a piece of it, so it became the Apple Power CD. When this CD player first hit the market in 1993, Apple continued to sell it until a few years later. When connected to speakers, the Power CD can read conventional CDs such as Kodak photo CDs, data CDs, and audio CDs that Apple customers cherished in the 1990s. Apple really was everywhere because they even introduced a printer. It was the first printer that Apple made in 1979 and only cost $599 when it was released in 1980. It was a thermal printer with an output capacity of 80 columns that required special paper. Because it was released shortly after the Apple II Plus, Apple II users could also use it. When compared to other printers, the Silent-type Apple printer was inexpensive. Another limited tech was the Solid Rose Gold Apple AirPods. The 18 Solid Rose Gold Apple AirPods were produced for Bono's product, Rady Cherry. These AirPods cost around 16,000 times more than the standard pair that Apple sells for $29 each. Apple AirPods in Solid Rose Gold initially showed sales of $20,000 to $25,000, but ultimately reached $460,000. Back in the day, Apple made a Macintosh for the 20th anniversary that cost a pretty penny, so not everyone had the chance to buy it. It was a one-of-a-kind limited computer that was introduced in 1997. The device was also referred to and regarded as the most over-engineered personal computer ever made. I bet you didn't know that back in the day people rocked Apple cameras, did you? In 1994, Apple released the QuickTake 100 camera, but 3 years later the company decided to stop selling it. QuickTake was the first consumer digital camera, according to Time magazine Profiled, which listed it among the 100 greatest and most influential gadgets from 1923 to the present. If you thought the Macintosh back in the day was big, you didn't hear about the Macintosh XL. It was a modified Apple Lisa 2/10 desktop computer. In 1985, Apple released the Macintosh XL, but sales were slow because of its exorbitant price. After 3 months, Apple stopped making the Macintosh XL because it was unable to secure its future. Apple really was an innovative company even before all the iPhones and MX. In the 90s, they made a digital assistant named Apple Newton. It was a series of personal digital assistants developed by Apple 25 years ago in 1993. It is also known as the first feature handwriting recognition tool. It was a great idea, but unfortunately initial problems and overprice hampered the sale. Apple decided to discontinue the sale on February 27, 1998. You wouldn't believe it, but Apple did attempt its hand at the clothing line after experimenting with gadgets, new models, and interfaces. Apple Collection was one of Steve Jobs' terrible ideas, among others. Apple also introduced a sizable selection of kids' clothes, including sweatshirts, patterned shirts, polos, and hats. In addition, the company had a sizable cult following for accessories like belts and bags in addition to clothing.